Hi, this is Girls Who Gab with Habs and Muffy. And on today's episode, we want to wish you a very happy new year as we plan our calendar for 2025. Hey Habs, it's Muffy. Happy New Year to you. I mean, it's New Year's Eve, but in just a few short hours, we're going to be ringing in 2025. We are a quarter of the century in. What? Remember Y2K and like 2000 coming in? How is it that it's 25 years later? And how is it that I've known you 10 years more than that? Just have to say. It's unbelievable, but I want to wish you a very, very happy new year to A and T and J as well. And of course, Mr. P. So, I was wondering how you look at it at the new year. I was wondering if you, when you're staring down the barrel of January, like how you think about a new year. Are you like making resolutions? Are you thinking about new ways to organize yourself? Are there like new goals that are coming up for you? Are there ways that you use to do these things? I'm just really curious. And I know we've talked a long time ago in episode, I think 2, about how we kind of keep our calendars both like written and like electronic and just the whole 9, and how our families look at that. And, so it's not really about that topic, but more about like how you start a new year. If you start it organized, if you start it with goals, if you start it with resolutions, if you start it with hope for new ways of being. I was just curious about that as we're sitting here just a few hours off from 2025. It just feels like that season, the season of resolutions. After like, a long holiday season, but one that always kind of goes by really fast. As I sit here, my birthday is like at the end of June. So I always feel like that birthday of mine is like the beginning of my new birth year. And so I do a lot of kind of thoughts on the new year. You know me, I like to throw cards because I'm a master card reader. And so I work with a lot of different decks to kind of see where my energy is for the given upcoming year. I think about goals that I'd like to have for the new year, my new year, my personal birthday new year. But this to me feels like tonight is exactly 6 months after that. And like, this is like a check-in moment on how I started my birth year. And also then, time to maybe adjust it or reflect on it or just keep going with it, as I go into the second 6 months of my birth year. So it's kind of nicely aligned that way for me. They kind of dovetail. Every 6 months, I'm thinking about, new ways of being with self, calendaring, organizing projects, goals, this or that, and also reviewing, right? Because when it comes to my birthday, I'm a year into the calendar year. So this is a great moment for me. Do I make resolutions? I don't. I think we talked about this way back in episode 2, but I use this Horatio printing dream planner called The Best Is Yet to Come. It's a dream planner. The tagline is The Best Is Yet to Come. And I use that to align my goals and my intentions that are quarterly, not yearly, but actually quarterly, into my every week that I'm going through, and then making sure that somewhere I'm making contact with them on an almost daily basis. The things I really want to hone in on. So this dream planner has really aligned my overall values, my intentions, my goals for a certain period of time. And it's not overwhelming because I'm actually thinking about January, February, March, not all of January through December, although I have ideas. But the person who owns Horatio Printing and who kind of leads out on like how to calendar, basically says that the year has lots of moments to be able to reflect and say, hey, is this what I still want? Am I in the same, going in the same direction? Do I need to update things, edit things, shift things, go further with things? I really like that. I have to admit, I've been kept in the present even at the end of 2024 because I've had certain things that I've wanted to align with during October, November, December, which I'm just coming off of. So now I'm thinking, what am I carrying forward into the first quarter of 2025? What does need to shift? What does need to change? What new things are coming? And like we were mentioning back in that episode, there's a whole like dream planner calendar course that I took back in November. And as we were talking about, you can just take it as you want. You just log on when you want to take these classes to learn how to work this dream planner. So I did that in November of 23, anticipating my dream planner for 24. And then I've done it again this year for my 2025 year. So this quarter, I have been thinking about what I'm doing in 2025, but I have to say, I've been present in this last quarter to myself and my goals in a way I have never been. I would usually be chomping at the bit, like this year's almost over. What's been done has been done. Let me get through the holidays and just like get going for the new year. But I don't know, Polly and her dream planner, I just feel like I'm kept kind of in the moment. And so now on December 31st, I feel like, okay, now I'm ready to sort of say what's going on in January. I mean, like I said, I took the class, I've been anticipating, I have an eye on it, but I've also been really present-minded and not just to the holidays and getting through the holidays like everybody's trying to get through the holidays, but also like thinking about what I'm doing right now for myself. And some of these things, I mean, she goes through all of them, like goals around finances, goals around personal stuff, goals around your marriage, goals around motherhood, goals around physical, extra, like all these different categories. You get to check in and say, how am I doing on that? You actually have a little pie chart and you fill it in. I mean, it's really cool to kind of see it. And then like, what do I really want to focus on? And then making sure that you, Mr. R, the dog has walked in. You might hear him. So happy to see me. Isn't it nice to have? Mr. R is a Labrador Retriever, and he is very loving and kind. And I'm saying this to him, and he's just looking at me so happy. There's nothing like a Labrador Retriever's love. I know. I'm like doing a denouement here, like I'm off of the calendar business here. But oh my gosh, I think one of my goals is to be present with my pets, and I certainly had it down for this quarter to spend more time with Mr. R, walking him and playing with him and just being with R. And I've done that this season, this past quarter, Habs. And like, so that's something I wrote in my planner for this quarter, in my family little piece of pie, like, be with R more. And I've done that. So I see him and he's coming in and it just makes me feel so happy. That's why I say how grounding it is. It's not just like big ethereal goals out there, but like, what do you want? Do you want to do like morning affirmations? Do you want quiet time? Do you want to exercise? Do you want to save $20 this week? Do you want to, write in your journal? I mean, anything to, professional goals, doing an application for school or applying for a new job. I know there's the big stuff and the little stuff. And so I really like being grounded in the present. So I kind of feel like on this eve of the new year, I'm kind of grounded in a way that I've never been before. And yes, I'm filling in my dream planner in those pages. And I'm thinking about what I've just come through in this past quarter. And now what I'm building on off of that, what I may switch up. It's not like 2025 is an absolute reboot. I mean, a new year can be a reboot, but it can also be just, continuing on or adding in or editing what has been done to date or something like that. But it really makes me feel like every day in 2024 has counted for me. The months, the weeks, and the days, and aligning them with who I am, what I want to be doing with myself, how I want to be bringing myself to my life, to the other, to my work, to my creativity, right? It's just been really good. And at the end of these, I think it's end of the month. At the end of the month, you have something called notes where you can take notes throughout that month, and a praise report. And like I said, there's some religious connotations to these planners, but this praise report is like, what can you praise yourself for? What did you accomplish? And not just like professionally, but just like the fact that I, played or was with Armor. That's like goes like I'm praising myself for, deepening my relationship to my dog, which may sound odd, but like I love that there's a reflection time to praise oneself. And that's happening right now alongside the end of the year. It's the end of December. And what are you praising yourself for? And I don't see pages at the end of the year to kind of do a clean sweep of that over the whole year, because I think you're doing it quarterly. But I may just on my own do that reflection, just to see like what kind of was the whole thing about for this past year. And then of course, all the pages in the Dream Planner that are preparing me into 2025, but really focusing on that first quarter. And of course, there's the vision board. I've always loved a vision board, but a vision board is a part of this Dream Planner. The best is yet to come planning. And I also like, it's very small. It's very contained. They give you some things you can use on it. People often go to, websites and pull things and cut them out. I actually, and I think this, Habs, I like to just go to the grocery store. I know this is kind of expensive, but I like doing this every so often and just buying a bunch of magazines, because I love looking through magazines and just like cutting them up. Anything like imagery, words, whatever that are like speaking to me as I just go through. I don't think about it too much. I just go through it. And then I have a whole pile of those clippings. And then I can use it for my vision board. And also in this thing, it's like the vision board can also change quarterly. I don't think I changed mine throughout 2024 quarterly, but I did change it like at my birthday mark. And then I also changed it going into the fall. I felt like, no, I need to update that. It's not what I put on there in January and in June is not resonating this fall as much. So I went ahead and bought the magazines and did that. I have a whole bunch of new clippings now. And then something else came along and I plastered that thing above and beyond all of it, which is kind of interesting. I'm waiting to see kind of how that plays itself out. And I just have it on my desk and I'm able to see it, and it's not big. It's kind of small and contained. And so it's not overwhelming. And that also is just a visual reminder of where I am on top of all these words you put in these planners and stuff. So yeah, I was been gearing in November with the class. I have been working with the vision board. And I have been, reflecting on the past quarter and now into the new quarter, but also thinking about the trajectory of the year. That's why I want to do a review of the trajectory of the past year. And this is sort of my planning for a new year and like meeting it. And it has been radically different from the way I used to be. I used to like make the resolutions. They'd be broken by the end of January. And like, okay, whatever my vision is that I had on the first of the year, that's got to be my vision till December 31st of that year. And like nothing stayed, right? I like this system because it's like, it's alive and it's alive with me and it's got energy and I'm bringing it. And I cannot believe how I kept the energy that energy throughout till today, December 31st, 2024. Now I'm ready to be in 2025. And now I'm ready to turn that page on the quarter, on the new year. Like I said, I think I'm going to sweep over the past year tonight and think about what the whole of 2024 meant. And then have some ideas. What do I think the whole of 2025 will mean? But lots of place to adapt and edit and create and all sorts of things. It's like a living, breathing planner that aligns with me and my intentions and who I am at any given time on any given day throughout the year. It's resonant and relevant to me. And it's what you put in, you get out. So that's kind of what's on my mind as 2025 dawns. How about you, Habs? Happy New Year.
Hey Muffy, it's Habs. Happy New Year. Happy 2025. Almost. I can't believe it. No, I can't believe that we're a quarter of the way through this century and that Y2K was 25 years ago. It kind of feels like yesterday in some ways, and then in other ways it feels very, very distant. I do remember it very vividly because my husband, is an IT, and they were at his work, they were preparing for a computer crash, and everybody was very worried about it. And, it was like, oh, what's going to happen? And then, we went from 1999 to 2000 and nothing really happened. The computers didn't crash. Nothing crashed. It was all good. So it's kind of funny. And yeah, I can't believe that I've known you 10 more years than that. It's crazy. I get how our elders talk about the years and the time, and how it goes by and how is it possible, and I get it. So anyways, Happy New Year to you, RK, Mr. R, your dog, and Mrs. M, your cat, because she rules the roost. I don't do resolutions anymore. I used to, or we always had a habit, A and I, of A would ask me, so what are your New Year's resolutions? And then I would start to list them, and sometimes there were a bunch, and other times just a few. But I just found over the years that, like you said, you start out making these resolutions, and then they fall by the wayside by the end of January, if not, sooner than that. So I don't know that I believe in resolutions. I think more about the year in different clumps, different seasons. I mean, the fall, it's just all about the holidays, planning for Halloween, planning for Thanksgiving, planning for Christmas. I mean, I'm currently thinking about what I'm going to do for the Advent calendar, which, by the way, I did come up with an idea. I just hope it's not too grandiose. We shall see. But I am working on that. And now I'm thinking about my Christmas card. So it's, I'm just all consumed. So, when Christmas ends and the new year begins, I mean, I feel like I'm the happiest woman in the world because I've just been working so hard that I just crash. I mean, so in some ways I look forward to the quietness of January. Now I do have a little bit of agita because I know that my older daughter, T, her birthday is at the end of February, and it's always a very important birthday for me. I mean, both my girls' birthdays are important, but I like to celebrate their birthdays, and I like to do special things. So, I get a little stressed about it. And this year she turned 17, and on her 17th birthday, she'll be taking her driver's license. So it's crazy. So, so, when January hits, I then think about just all the months and what's happening between January and June. And I do, and the different holidays, the different school activities. It depends on where I'm at with my job. I mean, I'm currently not full-time employed, but last year I was, and my job was just all consuming that I actually really didn't think about a lot, which is kind of sad. It makes me sad anyways. I mean, this year at this time, I'm thinking about my job goals, and what I want my professional life to look like. So that's why I'm excited to use this dream planner that you introduced me to, because I think it could really help. I'm so impressed on how much you reflect on things and like stick to your goals. And I mean, I just, I don't do enough of that. I feel like I don't have time to think often. So maybe that's one of my goals, is to take or carve more time out of my day in this new year to think about things and to reflect a little bit. So I'm a little bit more intentional, because a lot of times I feel like I'm flying by the seat of my pants, to be honest. But I do, like, in those months from January to June, I also start to think about the summer. What is our summer plans going to look like? What camps are Jay going to? What is T doing for the summer? I mean, this summer it'll be a little bit more clear because she has a job that she started this past summer. So, but she will have other things to do. So, and then I try not to think about the next fall, and I try to, in the summer, I try to just enjoy and soak up the summer, because it's a special time where, the kids aren't in school, so they don't have this activity or that activity. We can slow down. We can just, there's not so many commitments. I mean, maybe we go on a trip, maybe we don't. I think we'll probably go to Maine a bunch. Again, that'll depend on where I'm at professionally a little bit. But, and that's another goal, is, making my professional life fit within my personal life too. I haven't had that, when I've been working professionally, and I need to have that. So I've actually come up with a couple of ideas just by talking to you about what I'm looking to do in this coming year, which is, is awesome, I'm so, I am inspired by you, because I like how you're focusing on just being very much in the moment, very present, and how that is very grounding for you. And, when I think about this planner and the calendar, which is going to be new for me this year, I do appreciate, like, focusing on the little things, because the little things kind of all add up to be a big thing, right? In some ways, I think when I started this calendar process, I was like, whoa, this is a very overwhelming. But now I don't think that way so much. So I'm excited for it, and I'm excited because it is a little bit more intentional than my kind of haphazard, fly by the seat of my pants approach that I've taken in the past. And a lot's been going on in my life in the past few years, and while that's no excuse, I feel like I'm now able to slow down and focus on things and be a little bit more intentional. And especially when it comes to my professional life, but also my personal life, I have some goals that I've been thinking about for a while, and I just haven't been acting on them. And so I think this will help me to get started on acting on these things that I have procrastinated about for quite some time. So that's another reason I'm kind of looking forward to this calendaring in 2025. And I'm hoping, we've talked a little bit about me and where I'm at in my life, and I'm in this enlivening period, as you mentioned. And I think that this is part of that. Like, I am being enlivened, and I can now kind of like focus and be intentional. I know I keep saying that, but I really think that's going to be an important part of my year of 2025. The other piece I think that is really important for me is slowing down and not looking to have life pass by me so quickly. And the reason for that, because when I get into the Christmas and winter, I just go, oh, it's winter and it's cold, and I'm just looking for the spring and the summer when it's going to be warm and hot, and I can be in less layers and like all the stuff that comes with putting on winter clothing, which I just more and more find to be such a pain in the neck. But I think this year, in 2020, for the first part of this year, I am just going to enjoy the day to day and month to month, because after this year, I only have one more year with my oldest daughter, T, and it's going to make me cry. So I'm not ready for her to go away to school. And yeah, I'm going to get all teary here. But I think, just being more in the moment and intentional with my day to day, month to month goals, with myself and my family and life, to just really enjoy this year ahead. Because a part of it will be crazy. A part of it will be, having T fill out college applications and submitting them and writing her essay. She is going to take an essay class this summer, which is great and will be very helpful. But these are all things that I will need to plan for. Not that I'm doing everything for her, because I'm not, but it's a part of our family life. And so I want to enjoy, the time that I have with T and this year, because then I know next year, the end of 2025 and the beginning of 2026 will be the last year that she's home. And I can't believe that. So, I think this calendaring will be a really important thing in my life, and I'm excited about it. I like the idea of the vision board. While you were talking about it, I was like, well, what is the purpose of the vision board, really? And maybe while I knew the answer until you said it, I couldn't quite formulate it into words. But I love that it is a visual reminder of where you're at in the moment. So I have not done a vision board, but I think I am going to do a vision board, because I think that would be nice to have that kind of reminder of where I'm at for, from month to month, quarter to quarter, segment of the year to segment of the year, maybe January to June, it'll be one thing, and the summer months, it'll be another, and the fall, it'll be another. Who knows? But I really like that. And I love magazines. I love newspapers. I miss them. I don't have them in my life very much anymore, but I do really like them. So I'm kind of excited. I think I'm going to go out and spend a little money on some magazines, and I am going to create my own vision board for this year. I think it'll be a nice way to jumpstart 2025 for sure. So yeah, I don't really take the new year as a reboot of my life. I don't know that I do that at my birthday either. I think my birthday is just a day where it's my day, and I make it my day, and I enjoy that day, because I've always said that your birthday is your very own special day. But so I think, to your question, I've had these kind of loose goals, and, I don't want to call them resolutions, but because life has kind of taken me for the ride, and now I'm in a place where I don't want that to happen, that I'm in control of the ride, and as much as anyone can be, right? And I am going to take more control of that ride, and be, be more specific about what I want, and to take that time to reflect as I'm going through, my from month to month, and make things less of a goal and more of a, I'm doing this, right? I'm not thinking about doing it, I'm doing it. So I think that's where the calendar and being intentional, I don't know how many times I've said that. Our listeners can count them up. But I think the doing will help me to achieve the things that I'm hoping to achieve. So this has been I think there's always moments throughout the year where you can reflect and look back on things and think about how you're going to move forward on things. So, yeah, I don't necessarily think it's the start of a new year. I don't attest to the people that say, oh, I'm going to have a dry January. Why? Just have a dry whatever, whenever you want to have it, So that type of stuff. Or, oh, I'm going to work out. I'm going to join a gym. Why? You should be doing that all year round. Or not should. There's no should. Yeah, that's kind of how I look. I look at the new year that, hey, it's January. And what do the next 4 or 5 months look like? Right?
Hey Habs, it's Muffy. So you're already starting your advent calendar and Christmas cards for next year at the beginning of 2025? Good on you. Your dream planner's already been put to work and to good use. Yeah, I'm back. Thanks for all of your thoughts. That is Mr. R ringing in the new year with his spider where he squeaks. He's looking for something else now. He might be getting out your octopus that you gave him a little while ago. I don't know. We'll see what he picks up. Maybe something squeaky. Who knows? He's in a celebratory mood on this New Year's Eve, for sure. But yeah, I think, yep, his favorite. He's doing it. Yay, yay, yay. Happy, happy New Year, Mr. R. Happy, happy New Year. It's his way of ringing in the new year, for sure. Yeah, the dream planner, the calendar. I think, you use the word intentional a lot, and I think that is a great word for what the dream planner, is. And it really does marry one's kind of values and intentions and thoughts for oneself into every day of the year. I think that is a good word. And speaking of words, I know that, I don't know if it's actually in the class, because there's a dream planner class, which, by the way, is going to tell you more about the vision board, which is great. I'm glad you're going to take up the vision board. I found myself changing it out at the half-year mark. I changed it out in 2024, 6 months in, which is my birthday. And then I did it one more time as fall came in. So my vision board that I did a year ago as 2024 came in stayed the same. And they're just a small vision board. They're not large. And I wanted to tell you that BC, the one who introduced me in the Dream Planner and all of this, she's the one who, loves the visual. And she recently told me that she's going to have maybe multiple vision boards because they're small, right? And have them themed maybe like home or professional, personal. I mean, I'm not going to do that, but I think it's an interesting idea. And she's going to have them around her in her living space. Because, it's hard to get everything in one. I'm still good with one, but I just wanted to introduce that idea of like the vision board and maybe having more than one that are themed by spheres of life. But back to the word, Polly, the person who, founded Horatio Printing, it's her dream planner, always suggests having a word of the year. What is the word that you're inspired by to kind of meditate on, focus on, be inspired on? And I think for me in 2024, it had to be serendipity. It's my favorite word. And I think it is me. I feel like I have a very serendipitous life, and I love that about my life. And so I really wanted to cultivate more serendipity, although it's not really something you cultivate. It's something that just sort of happens. So that was my word for 2024. And now, what is the word for 2025? And so I'm still, thinking on that. And, I think it's a great, just to like break it down, like one word. I guess you could change it from month to month or quarter to quarter. But I like the idea of a word for the year. And I know BC kind of meditates on that. She prays on that. And then the word comes to her. And then that becomes her kind of touchstone for the year. And I just really think that's very cool. And I think it was BC who told me, although I think she referenced Polly and the system. So I don't know if it's actually in the classes. I don't think it is. But it's, just great. I mean, so that's another thing. If it wasn't in the classes and you're not aware of that, I wanted to bring your awareness to that, to like think of a word. Maybe your word is intentional or intentionality or space. I don't know. But it's a curious thing. One word to build a year upon. So yeah, I mean, I think in this rushed world, it is nice to just slow it down. I know for myself, this lead up into 2025, this fall, I've been super kind of slow, at home, sort of hibernating, working on my own creative projects, being with self. Yeah, how important that is to cultivate the relationship to self. And often that happens being with self in a way that's slow, that's not always rushing. And you have a very, very, I am so amazed by you, my friend. It boggles my mind how you keep track of your husband, and T and J and Mr. P, your dog, and yourself. And we're going to get into it, but I've been very curious about how laundry gets done and how the house gets cleaned and how meals get done. And it's just a very big deal. I mean, to have a family. And I thought it was very poignant what you said about the idea of time passing and your awareness that T is soon going to be not on her own, but like kind of in college, spending more time away from home, starting to create her own life than being at home, in your home, in the life you have created for her. I mean, I always think it's one of the most courageous things people do, is become a parent. I don't think I have ever been very courageous in that way. I think of my friends who are moms like yourself, as the most courageous people on this planet. Because ultimately what you're speaking about, like the leaving, and the whole point of it, all those years, 18 years or whatever, is to get your child to leave, to launch, to be separate from you. I can hear the pain in your voice. I mean, like, it is what you want for her, and also very painful. And I don't think I had ever the courage to meet that pain alongside the joy of seeing someone launch. I just have to be honest with you. I mean, the fact that you feel that pain and are meeting it, anticipating it, moving through it, almost like pre-grieving in a way, pre-grieving her leaving. Kudos to you, my friend, for seeing it, feeling it, and like being present to her in these last couple of years of high school. I mean, she'll be coming home and all these things, but it'll be different. It will be different. It will not be the same. And I just want to tell you how much I admire you. I mean, I've always felt this way. I mean, very like a scaredy cat. I think I am a scaredy cat when it comes to children and facing such things. I don't know if I could meet it, truth be told. So I just want to say that to you on this eve of 2025. That you're a courageous person and an evolving one, an enlivening one. And, it's always a work in progress. That's what anything is, day to day, month to month, year to year. And here we are on a new year, coming into a new month. And I'm wishing you, my friend, the very, very best in all your intentional plans for 2025. May it be wonderful for you in every way, shape, and form. I'm so glad to call you friend. Habs, I love you. Happy New Year.
Hey Muffy, it's Habs. Uh, yeah, I'm a planner. I'm already thinking about 2025, my Christmas card for 2025, and my Advent calendar. I mean, I think I think about those things all year round, to be honest, which is kind of annoying because there's already too much in my head that I'm thinking about to then also be thinking about that all year. But regardless of thinking about it all year or even early, I end up always doing it late, which is ironic, right? Anyways, yep, once a planner, always a planner. I feel like I have this cycle. I plan, I execute, and then I clean up. I plan, I execute, and then I clean up. And it's just like a revolving door. Uh, but I'm not sure I, I don't always plan, and sometimes I'm spontaneous, and I can be flexible. Um, but I also do like to plan. I'm not sure I would know how to exist without having kind of that mindset. Um, Again, I don't plan everything. I'm not like over the top or anything. I'm not really like OCD or like, oh my God, if I don't plan, then, I would say this past year, well, at the beginning of 2024, there was a lot going on, and usually, I usually start planning our summers around January, February, to be honest, and then we execute everything by March. Well, this past year, didn't because there were so many unknowns, and I was just we were both super busy at work, and it was just a weird feeling, and I finally just kind of succumbed to realizing that we're just going to go into this and we're going to wing it this year, and that's okay. So I did get out of my comfort zone, but you know, it's not that, but I don't know if that's going to be my new way of life in 2025. I doubt it. I think I already kind of have a plan for the summer. I already have a list of things that I know the girls are going to be doing. I know that we will go to Maine. I think the unknown for me right now is, will we take a summer vacation somewhere else, somewhere new? I would like to, but we're going to have to see where we're at. And that's not something I have to plan, at the beginning of 2025. I can let a few months go by. So yeah. Um, I love the idea of having a word for the year. And I do think 2025, for 2025, my word could be intentional. I really like that. Thank you, Muffy. And thank you, BC. Uh, I love that your word, that your word of the year may be serendipity. I think that very aptly describes you and who you are and who you're becoming, and will continue to evolve as you move throughout 2025. I do have this favorite word. It's called peripetia. I might have mentioned it to you in the past. Um, it's a sudden change of events. And while I love that word, I don't think that's my word for 2025. I was thinking when you were mentioning it, I was like, what should my word be? And immediately I thought of peripetia because I love that word, but I was like, no, that's not really my word. And then you said intentional, and I was like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me. Um, because, as I mentioned, I do want to be very intentional this coming year. I mean, it's the start of 2025 and throughout the year. especially with that's definitely going to be something that I build more and more into my calendar as, each quarter progresses, because I will, I will be losing time with her. And so I just want to be very intentional with my interactions, the time we spend. And, you know, it's not, I guess for me, it's never been quantity. I've always been about quality. So, some people are like, oh my God, I have to spend all my time with my kids. But like, that's not, I don't agree with that concept. I think it's the quality time you spend with your kids is the most meaningful. The quality you spend with your spouse or, your pets even. It's not, well, maybe pets need more quantity than quality, but you know what I mean. So, but I want to be intentional about the time I spend with T, but I also want that, I want to be intentional about the quality of the time that I spend with her and what we do together and, our time living, day to day under the same roof. So, I don't know if raising kids is courageous. And, I think you have every right to be scared of, you know, raising kids. It's a scary prospect. I think I might have mentioned this to you before, but, I remember when T was first born, and it was like about a week or two in, and I was driving somewhere without her, and I was like, oh my God, is she going to be with me forever? Am I stuck with her? Like, she's never going to go away. I mean, I think so very differently now. It's funny that I had that thought, but I just I didn't know what it was like besides like having a fish, like what it meant to have like a human being or a thing like with me all the time, and they weren't just going to go away. Of course, like I got used to that and like that, but it was like that first week I was like, ooh, like I kind of had a little panic attack, like, oh my God. I mean, I'm sure other people don't think like that, but I definitely did. I mean, another comment a woman made to me was like, oh, don't you just love her? I mean, isn't she just everything? And this was like, again, like maybe a week or less in. And I was like, I don't even know her. I mean, yeah, I love her because I gave birth to her and she was in my tummy for 9 months, but like, I just am starting to get to know her. And of course I can say that now, right? So, time does go by fast, my friend. I can't believe the end of 2024 has come to a close, or just about, and we're entering 2025. But here we are. Yeah, it's just crazy. And yeah, I am grieving a little bit regarding T and her departure in about a year and a half, maybe 2 years tops. So I am going to cherish that time. And I do agree with you. I think that my enlivening that has happened, probably in the latter part of 2024 and is continuing on, has really allowed me to have that clarity around T and the fact that she is departing in a couple of years. I'm not ready to say a year and a half. But yeah, I think that is part of the enlivening process. So I will, cherish all of these moments and times ahead and be a little bit more intentional with her and what we do over the next many, many months. I can say that at least. And yeah, like even the little moments of driving T to school or picking her up or picking up her and her friend. And, Jay, we have a little bit more time, but I also want to be more intentional about the quality of the time that I spend with her and what we do. I was thinking the other day as I look ahead into the new year that, A and I spend a lot of time cleaning up, organizing, doing things, but we don't do enough doing things with the girls. I mean, we do, but I would like to be more intentional. And I know I keep using that word, so it's probably annoying, but more intentional about what we do with the girls in this coming year of 2025. I think that's going to be super important because, yeah, the girls are both together and everybody's under one roof, and things will change and things will be all consuming with tea and applying to schools. And I want us to spend and enjoy some time together. On that note, I'm going to say cheers, Muffy. Thanks for listening to Girls Who Gab and our thoughts about planning for the 2025 year to come. For more, follow us on Instagram at Girls Who Gab with Habs and Muffy. Until next time, Happy New Year.